Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. It's always tough to go on right before the pub crawl, but we appreciate you coming and listening to our presentation. My name's Ted Tavridis. I'm with Itelligence. And Eric Jensen is the manager of enterprise applications for Exact Sciences Corporation. A little bit about the agenda of what we're going to talk about, so our introductions. We'll spend just a couple of minutes giving you a little overview of who Itelligence is, a little bit about SUSE, our partner, and then we're going to go into, basically, we talk to Eric about how Exact Sciences supports an early cancer detection vision with S4HANA, SAP S4HANA on AWS. Follow up with some solution space offerings if you're not familiar with the AWS solution space. And if we have time for some questions, we'll leave it for a couple of questions. So a little bit about who Itelligence is. So Itelligence was founded in 1989. We're an SAP systems integrator. We basically do nothing other than SAP. We were founded in Germany. We've been in business, like I said, since 1989. We have about 7,000 employees and a little bit under $1 billion a year in sales, and we're growing like a weed. We're now in 24 and just announced 25 countries around the world. We've been a SAP Platinum partner for many, many, many years in a row, and we've won the Sapphire Awards this year, 3 Sapphire Awards. A lot of different competencies that we handle in the SAP suite, but pretty much, suffice to say, a full-service SAP provider. In 2007, we moved into the NTT Data Group and became part of NTT Data. And this gave us more heft to be able to go after larger and more complex opportunities. Together, we have about 10,000 combined SAP experts in over 40 countries, doing about $1.8 billion of SAP revenue. When I say we are a full-service SAP provider, what does that mean? That means that we will do the entire stack, all the way from selling infrastructure on AWS, managing the infrastructure through the operating layer, the technical database layer, as well as SAP basis management. But what differentiates us often is that we also handle the functional layer of support for SAP, all the way through maintenance, application testing, optimization, and outsourcing your SAP departments. So with that, I'll bring up Eric Jensen, and I was going to ask Eric a couple questions here. So Eric, tell us about Exact Sciences. I understand you guys have had a lot of growth over the years.
Right. Exact Sciences is the maker of Cologuard. Cologuard is a non-invasive colorectal screening test. And basically, the way it works is it detects cancer in biomarkers directly in DNA and hemoglobin. The company went through a lot of clinical trials prior to 2014. And during that time, we were essentially an R&D company. Very little revenue, supply chain was not really existent. And at that time, we deployed and implemented SAP as our ERP system. So then in 2014, we achieved FDA approval to sell commercially the Cologuard product, and our company essentially radically changed. The SAP environment that we were sort of reliant on was still as it was as a very small company. We tried to enhance it quite a bit, but in order to support the growth of our company, we really needed to look to be able to scale. Because in the pipeline of our products in our science, we're looking at the next cancer screening test using that same DNA detection system. So there's a liver cancer test that's coming from a blood draw. In the pipeline is also a lung cancer screening test, again, from blood. So yeah, we've grown in typical startup fashion from just a couple of people with an idea in 2009 to today, being about a $400 million company.
All right. And how did you decide to work with itelligence for your SAP and your migration and management to AWS?
Sure. So as I mentioned, SAP was implemented by a partner that we had prior to itelligence, and we found that we weren't really getting the support that we needed from them. We needed a sort of level of really strong functional SAP expertise that we weren't getting from that partner. So I had known itelligence for about 12, 13 years in a previous life. And so we gave them a call and brought them in. We use itelligence for managed services. So they were really strong in the staff aug, functional expertise. They have a lot of consultants that are deep in on the business side of running SAP, come out of the business. So they're business experts as well as SAP system experts. So itelligence provided a lot of managed services support and guidance for our sort of road mapping and the challenges that we're facing as a rapidly growing company.
And then tell us about your decision-making process about moving from ECC 6.0 into S/4HANA, and why did you choose AWS as your hyperscale provider?
Sure. So the way we were running SAP as a small company is basically one single physical server in a hosting center that was did not have an SAP competency. They were just kind of a generic hosting center. So we had the bare minimum of sort of server level support. And we knew that we couldn't scale with that. So I started building the business case for a migration to S/4HANA. If you're not familiar with the SAP ecosystem, S/4HANA is sort of the new platform for SAP data architecture, offers a lot of robust power, offers some new interface capabilities that we could really leverage. So reached out to itelligence to help build this business case. The business case was sort of built on a number of things that we needed to do for our company, but a lot of it had to do with scalability. Along with it, a move to S/4HANA requires a new hardware infrastructure. And as a company, as an IT department, we had already started to build a competency in AWS. So that just was kind of the logical route to go. We have to build up a new landscape to support S/4HANA, and let's take advantage of the cloud offerings and the AWS infrastructure. So itelligence really helped us find the right routes to that. Again, Exact Sciences is doing a number of things with AWS, but SAP operation really hadn't yet. So I had a lot to learn myself. So with itelligence, we found an AWS reseller partner that could help us with that. We have a couple of nuances to our system, and that is in part because we are HIPAA compliant. For our screening tests, we are both the manufacturer and the test provider. As such, in our ERP system, we have a lot of PHI, so protected health information, which means as a covered entity under HIPAA compliance, any vendor that has access to our data also sort of is bound by some of those HIPAA requirements. So itelligence was able to provide that sort of competency as a business associate, as well as AWS is able to do that too. So as far as data security, all the governance, all the controls that you need around protected health information, AWS can support. So that was another reason why AWS made a lot of sense for us.
All right. So you covered my competency question already about, around compliance and HIPAA compliance. So
Yeah, it's important to us. In fact, it's crucial to us. It was basically a non-starter if we can't basically fulfill our HIPAA requirements, then that's just those aren't partners we can work with, because any vendor that has any access whatsoever, whether it's a support role like itelligence or an infrastructure role like our partner, is sort of bound by this and has to sign business associate agreements and sort of, as long as they have the controls to do that, then it's really quite easy. But if they don't have those controls, then it just can't happen.
All right.
Now, Ted, I have a question for you. So how did itelligence come to choose AWS as their hyperscale cloud provider?
Yeah. So when we made a decision that we were going to start working in a hyperscale environment, we're based in Germany, and we go through a very rigorous process of evaluation of different providers that are out there. So we looked at the three main providers that were out there and did a head-to-head bake-off amongst them all. We worked with SAP, and we made a strategic decision that we were going to go with AWS as our hyperscale provider. One of the things that Eric was talking about is about his scalability. The difference between, if you're not familiar with HANA, how it works is it's an in-memory database. It takes an incredible amount of RAM to work, and you really need it. The RAM needs scale up sometimes to 50 terabytes on a particular server. There's not that many, there's very few providers that are able to provide that. So companies like Eric's, when they're growing like as fast as they are, in the old days, clients would have to make a decision about what their needs were going to be 3 years, 4 years down the line, and they would have to scale their systems to try to get to that system. So they'd say, okay, I think we're going to be at 12 terabytes now. Maybe I only need 3 now, buy that now. But the beauty of AWS is we could scale up or scale out all the way up to 50 terabytes for 50 terabyte RAM servers. So that was the reason, one of the main reasons we chose AWS, as well as all the secondary services that go along with it. The IoT, machine learning, and all the other things that are really adding to the ecosystem that is adding value to our client base.
So what kind of trends are you seeing in the SAP market space in regards to AWS, and what can it provide?
Yeah, if you're not familiar with what's going on in the SAP market, so almost all the clients that are running SAP today are running ECC 6.0, and they're running it on any database. So they're running it on Oracle, they're running it on Microsoft, they're running it on SQL, any kind of database that they have out there. SAP's made the strategic decision that all of those clients need to move into HANA by 2025, or S4 HANA by 2025. So they all have to migrate into a new environment. And what we're finding is about 75% of those clients are looking at migrating into a cloud provider. So we're seeing a lot of movement in that market today, and we needed to work with a provider that's able to handle that scalability. All right.
Okay.
We'll go one more.
Yep.
So for more information, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the AWS solution space, but they have a new area in there that's just focused on SAP and SAP only. There's a variety of solutions that are powered by SUSE in there. The first is the S4 HANA migration to AWS. So SUSE has a variety of tools that we utilize, and we've used them as our partner to do very quick starts. The second is the proof of concept. So we're working with SUSE to be able to have our clients and show what their data looks like running on AWS on S4 HANA, so they can see what the performance is. There's a couple of other things you can find in there too, with Solutions Center as a manager, and now a new one that we just launched, Hybris Commerce, which they just changed the name to C4 HANA, but most people still know it as Hybris. and that's in there as well. So if you have any questions about this, we'll be here for a little bit afterwards, or we actually have a couple minutes if you have some questions now. But we could schedule a workshop with Itelligence and SUSE today. There's 2 links on the bottom there for the quick starts on SUSE, and then underneath that is the SAP the Solution Center space on the AWS website. So I think that was it. So for more information, I put this up here. You can either email us at either of those 2 email addresses. There's my contact information. Please give us a call. Does anybody have any questions now? Nope. Well,
All right.
Well, thanks, Eric. We really appreciate you coming in for
Thanks,
this.
Ted.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.